reading a lot of poetry lately, and I thought I would make a short video reading some of my favorite Mary Oliver poems from her collection, specifically called Devotions. I love this collection. I bought a copy for my mother. She also loves it. If you don't know Mary Oliver, this is a great introduction to her. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you will have fallen a little bit in love with her work as well. I wake close to morning. Why do people keep asking to see God's identity papers when the darkness opening into morning is more than enough? Certainly, any God might turn away in disgust. Think of Sheba approaching the kingdom of Solomon. Do you think she had to ask, "Is this the place?" The world I live in. I have refused to live locked in the orderly house of reasons and proofs. The world I live in and believe in is wider than that. And anyway, what's wrong with maybe? You wouldn't believe what once or twice I have seen. I'll just tell you this. Only if there are angels in your head will you ever possibly see one. Already, you might be able to tell that a lot of her work is rooted in wonder. That little beast, that pretty little beast, a poem, has a mind of its own. Sometimes I want it to crave apples, but it wants red meat. Sometimes I want to walk peacefully on the shore, and it wants to take off all its clothes and dive in. Sometimes I want to use small words and make them important, and it starts shouting the dictionary, the opportunities. Sometimes I want to sum up and give thanks, putting things in order, and it starts dancing around the room on its 4 furry legs, laughing and calling me outrageous. But sometimes, when I'm thinking about you, and no doubt smiling, it sits down quietly, one paw under its chin, and just listens. I apologize for the sound you might hear. It sounds like a gun. It is my distant neighbor's air gun or air cannon, whatever they call it, to scare the deer away from their apple trees. So I apologize for that. The gift. Be still, my soul, and steadfast. Earth and heaven both are still watching. Though time is draining from the clock, and your walk that was once confident and quick has become slow. So be slow if you must, but let the heart still play its true part. Love still as once you loved, deeply and without patience. Let God and the world know you are grateful that the gift has been given. I go down to the shore in the morning. Depending on the hour, the waves are rolling in or moving out, and I say, "Oh, I am miserable. What shall What should I do? And the sea says in its lovely voice, "Excuse me, I have work to do." I forgot to say that one is called I Go Down to the Shore. Three things to remember. As long as you're dancing, you can break the rules. Sometimes breaking the rules is just extending the rules. Sometimes there are no rules. This is one of her more popular poems, I would say. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and gave it up, and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang. Don't hesitate. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise, and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. That last line, you might have seen it floating around social media. People like to share that. With thanks to the field sparrow, whose voice is so delicate and humble. I do not live happily or comfortably with the cleverness of our times. The talk is all about computers. The news is all about bombs and blood. This morning in the fresh field, I came upon a hidden nest that held 4 warm speckled eggs. I touched them, then went away softly, having felt something more wonderful than all the electricity of New York City. I highlighted this one a while ago. Mysteries, yes. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of the lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How 2 hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. When I am among the trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine." Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Wild, wild. This is what love is. The dry rose bush the gardener in his pruning mist suddenly bursts into bloom. A madness of delight, an obsession, a holy gift, certainly, but often, alas, improbable. Why couldn't Romeo have settled for someone else? Why couldn't Tristan and Isolde have refused the shining cup, which would have left peaceful the whole kingdom? Wild sings the bird of the heart in the forests of our lives. Over and over, Faust, standing in the garden, doesn't know anything that's going to happen. He only sees the face of Marguerite, which is irresistible. And wild, wild sings the bird. Why I wake early. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star, that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness and kindness. The arrowhead, which I found beside the river, was glittering and pointed. I picked it up and said, "Now it's mine." I thought of showing it to friends. The thought of putting it, such an imposing trinket, in a little box on my desk. Halfway home, past the cut fields, the old ghost stood under the hickories. "I would rather drink the wind," he said. "I would rather eat mud and die than steal as you still steal, than lie as you still lie." The sun. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills with a rumpled sea and is gone, and how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world like a red flower, streaming upward on its heavenly oils, say on a morning in early summer, at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anything in any language, a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things. One more poem I'm going to read. Last but not least, her most famous poem, I would say. Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Like I said, I have loved Mary for years. She is revered by many, and I highly recommend exploring her work, and this collection is